With the second season of Nijigasaki coming in 2022, it increasingly looks like Shioriko, Mia, and Lanzhu would be a part of that story, so I figured it would be helpful for someone to recap the story in Squall Festival All-Stars. Since the whole story around Lanzhu is about 10 hours, maybe even longer potentially, I figured it would be helpful to me to condense the story that many people may not know or haven't gotten the full idea yet due to the fact that it's really long. In this video, I'll be covering a majority of the important parts of the story revolving around Lanzhu from about chapter 17 to the most recent chapter. Now keep in mind, I cannot cover everything that happens in all the chapters, and I may skip whole episodes in a chapter as I deem it unessential. So if you want the full story, I'll give you a link in the description below where you can go and watch each individual chapter. If you would rather read my summary, or if you want to Google Translate, if that will make it easier, I'll give you a link. You can go and read it. It won't be exactly perfect, but it'll give you a strong idea of what's going on. So without further ado, let's start the story of Lanzhu Zhong. Season 1. Chapter 17, The School Idol Festival. Everything starts in Chapter 17 of Season 1. In Episode 10, Yu, which is the character you play in the game, decides to go on a 2-month short-term study program. I said Yu because Yu is the player Yu, which is also Yu Takasaki from the Nijigasaki anime. So every time I say Yu, think of Yu Takasaki, but you could, I guess, technically think it's Yu, the player. By the way, you are technically the same person. Right before you leave for your 2-month study short-term abroad program, Ayumu wishes you luck and safe travels. Intermission. Chapter 18, Time for Secret Training. There isn't much worth mentioning in the next 2 chapters of the intermission. The girls go on a training camp with all of the girls in Muse, and they bond with the newcomer Shioriko. Chapter 19, Fighting Zombies. It is of note that there is something that happens in the final episode of Chapter 19. The girls return from the training camp and are excited to tell all the adventures to Yu when she comes back. However, they notice Shioriko was missing. The chairwoman calls in Shioriko, the student council president, and she introduces 2 girls to Shioriko. The first is Lanzhu Zhong from Hong Kong, China. She is a childhood friend of Shioriko, and she is transferring to the school with another girl, Mia Taylor, who is from New York. She is also known for her loose vocabulary. Shioriko tasks herself with acquainting herself and the girls to the new school. Season 2. Chapter 20, Club vs. Association. Season 2 starts in Chapter 20. We time skip a bit ahead to the return of Yu, which is about 20 days since the last chapter. Yu then overhears that a school idol association live is about to start when she comes back. Yu of course is interested to see idols perform, so she looks to go and see it. In the auditorium, Lanzhu introduces herself in a very cocky manner. But take note of who is next to her: Karin, Shioriko, and I. Then Lanzhu performs her first solo song, Queendom. Queendom sings about how Lanzhu is so special that she can take control over everything. She's perfect. She's the queen and she's building her own queendom, and you are to join it. This song contains Chinese and Japanese, which makes the song very unique to Love Live. Following the live show, you find Kasumi, who is tearing up. Then you mention Lanzhu, and she quickly turns sour. She mentions that Karin and I are the backup dancers to Lanzhu, which of course is a lesser role that they had as being squells from before. Lanzhu made her own club called the School Idol Association. Girls then lost their club room because of her. Lanzhu can apparently do this because she's the daughter of the chairwoman, because that makes sense. Lanzhu was interested in the idols after seeing the School Idol Festival, and they invited her to join the club. However, Lanzhu decided to shut down their club because Lanzhu felt that she could do it better because she has better equipment and professionals and overall just a really great staff. And she offered the girls to join her association. Furthermore, all idol activities are banned for people who are not in the association. This is enforced by the monitoring committee. Karin and I, or the girls in Diver Diva, then show up. Kasumi then gets irritated by these outsiders, as she calls them, as they have left the club and joined Lanzhu's association. Shizuku then has Karin and I explain their side of the story. I says that she was interested in the association and how they run things, and she wanted to be friends with all light lovers, including Lanzhu. Karin, on the other hand, focuses on the professional equipment and staff that Lanzhu provides, which is far superior than what the school idol club can afford. Though, it's said by how Karin doesn't get to sing yet in her songs. Karin says she isn't good enough to be the main performer yet, and I and Karin try to get the girls to join the association, but they resist the ideals and restrictions that the association has. He even says the association just feels different to other groups like Muse and Aqua. Yu then decides that she needs to discuss with Lanzhu and have them join forces. Yu asks Lanzhu if she is able to use her original club room, but Lanzhu says she can only do that if she joins the association. Yu obviously declines, but that confuses Lanzhu. Our club has everything: style, comfort, just being modern, and all the tools you could ever ask for. She then brings Yu to Mia, who is in the computer room filled with a bunch of audio equipment. Mia is a prodigy, and she is the second daughter of the prestigious musical family known as the Taylors. Mia herself has written 30 of the top 100 played songs, I'm assuming like ever, or at least this year, which, really? Love Live? And on top of that, she was able to write 5 songs in a night, which, that's unrealistically talented, or it must be really quick short songs. Oh yeah, I should also mention she's 14, but she's also in college back in the US. But Lanzhu decides to drag her back to the 3rd year in high school, which is of course equivalent to being a senior high school, is I guess logic. But after all of that, Lanzhu goes on about how amazing her association is, and she can help refine the other girls, which are diamonds in the rough. She focuses on how professionals are always better, and whatever the girls will be able to make will be inferior to what the association can do. Lanzhu is convinced that her way is the right way, and she's oblivious to how people feel and the hard work and passion they put into their songs. Shioriko then grabs Yu and apologizes for Lanzhu's arrogant and entitled demeanor. Though Shioriko says Lanzhu doesn't have bad intentions regardless of her actions. She does what she believes is the best for them. Shioriko draws a parallel to herself from before, when she tried to abolish the club, in the chapters preceding all of this. Shioriko changed because of Yu, and though she is a part of the association, she still wishes to help the club out. Yu then meets with the club, and she says she believes that the association isn't all bad, and it could bring in some positives. Though Ayumu, Kanata, Emma, and Kasumi reaffirm their beliefs in Yu and not the association. However, Shizuku, Setsa, and Rina, they wish to take up the opportunity to think about the future for them and see if the association is the best for them or staying in the club is best for them. The club then meets with Muse and Aqua, and they explain their ordeal and how they cannot practice. Honoka then offers to them to have them be able to practice at their school. The girls do a practice at Otonokizaka High, but they complain about being unable to show off their practice in a live performance. Niku then offers the idea of a guerrilla gig or live, which is an unannounced live that happens out of nowhere. That counters the issue of the monitors being able to shut them down because they don't know it's going to happen there, but then the question comes up, what if no one shows up? The Naomi suggests spreading a rumor of the guerrilla live and having the captains of the other clubs spread the rumor. Since there are only 2 monitors, the idea is to have the rumor be inconsistent with the location, so they would have to check a bunch of different locations, and since it's only 2 monitors, it's hard for them to shut them all down because they have to check all the locations. On the day of the Gorilla Live, Kasumi gets ready to start, and a sizable crowd shows up, but suddenly the school association starts their live at the same time, stealing most of the crowd. Kasumi then gets really disheartened, but despite that, the girls still perform. While they weren't able to compete with the association in terms of numbers, he felt it was still a relative success. The club believes that they should be able to keep going, doing guerrilla lives and spreading rumors to grow their support. During the discussions on what to do next, Shizuku then announces she will be joining the association. This upsets Kasumi greatly, especially since she is pretty much her best friend. Shizuku wishes to see the differences between her groups, but it's not that she sees the club as inferior. Once she knows the differences, her goal is to return to the club. Chapter 21, Troubled Shizuku's Innocence. Yu and Ayumi discuss Shizuku's decision. Overall, there is disappointment in her, but they both choose to respect her decision. Shizuku feels uneasy about her choice, but she decides to call Ai about it. Ai comforts her and hypes her up about joining the association. The next day, Yu finds Shizuku and Katsumi fighting. It starts off with them arguing about Shizuku leaving, and they claim that they both want to have a competition judged by Yu. But the argument eventually dies down, since Katsumi still feels an appreciation for Shizuku, who helps her in academics. Shizuku then goes into the association club room, and she is warmly greeted by the group. Shizuku discusses with Shioriko how she needs to improve herself. They go through a training regimen which is very difficult for Shizuku, but it's pretty normal for everyone else. Miya stops by and gives Shizuku a passing grade for her singing skills. Lanzhu also claims Shizuku to be her new bestie. All in all, the association and Lanzhu have really impressed Shizuku, and they are really excited to see Shizuku in their ranks. Shizuku and Lanzhu both claim that Lanzhu is perfect. In the next association live, the girls watch and notice Shizuku gets a short solo section. Katsumi can't help but notice it doesn't feel like it's the real Shizuku singing out there. Shizuku feels rather confused and insulted though, as she worked tirelessly, yet Katsumi discredits her hard work. Miya then meets up with Shizuku. Shizuku asks her how she can improve, but Miya says that they'll just discard the song they just sung, as it wasn't good enough, and that she'll just make a better song anyways. Miya only cares about perfect songs. This catches Shizuku off guard, as this is rather bizarre for her. Shizuku then attends the second Gorilla Live, but she is unsure of herself. She tries to believe that she was in the right for going to the association. Katsumi performs, and Shizuku is quick to notice Katsumi's flaws in her performance. But she can also see Katsumi's passion and cuteness, something that Shizuku feels that the association lacks. This causes her to doubt herself. Shizuku goes to the association and finds Miyata early in the morning. Miya shows what she does and explains that she has to weed through a lot of garbage to find what she needs when making a song, or as she puts it, find a nail in a haystack. Shizuku is then handed the new song created by Miya, which Shizuku finds incredible, but she doesn't quite feel moved by it. Conflicted, she wonders why Katsumi's performance is stuck in her head. She then brings in Yu to discuss and gain some confidence. She realizes that the thing she is missing is the passion, the feelings, the soul, and the overall enjoyment of being an idol. Shizuku then does a performance, and she gets praise from Lanzhu and Miya as she followed their blueprint for being an idol. Shizuku credits the association for her growth. She then announces to them she will be doing another performance. Following another Grill Live by the girls, Shizuku performs her song Anata Rizo no Hirawen with passion and feelings, and rather than following the association's perfectionism. She then rejoins the club and apologizes to Katsumi. She admits she was wrong. She wasn't being her true self. She believed she was missing something before she joined the association, but by joining the association, she learned that she wasn't missing the professional equipment, staff, or the songwriters. The association may have the glitz and glamour, but it lacks the heart and spirit of a true idol. There, Shizuku lost the ability to express herself. Sometimes, you don't realize what you have until you lose it. Lanzhu gets infuriated by the fact that Shizuku left. She claims she'll do more performances to show why she is superior. She tells Miya to prepare the next set of songs, but Miya mostly ignores her. Miya is a bit frustrated, but not for the same reason. Chapter 22, Hear My Small Voice. Karin, Ai, and Shioriko have noticed something is up with Miya. Normally she's writing songs lightning fast, but recently she hasn't even finished one song. The girls expect either homesickness or writer's block, but Lanzhu comes over and says that's not possible. She says Miya's dad is a tenor vocalist, her mom is a top Broadway musical star, and her bigger sister is a pop sensation. You know, just your average family. Honestly, maybe she's related to Taylor Swift too. Meanwhile, the club is experiencing small growth in their following, but they still realize they have ways to go. The association is still superior, and they are amateurs. They need to improve. Lanzhu then barges into Mia's room, and Mia claims her song is finished, but she just wants to be left alone. Lanzhu refuses her request and makes her eat lunch with her, but Mia tells Lanzhu that she's a tyrant. Mia wants to watch her baseball and eat her hamburgers, like a typical American. Mia then shows her song off to Lanzhu, but Lanzhu bluntly says her song isn't up to snuff. Karin and I say that they like her song, but they also like the songs written by you. Mia takes offense to that, as being compared to you, who she calls a baby in terms of songwriting, and claims that she'll write a better song. The girls in the club then decide to look at the association's performance to see how they can prove as idols. And they notice, in contrast to their songs, which are written for the girl mind, it just doesn't feel like that's the way it is done for the association. It appears that the songs are written for someone else. During a discussion with Aqua, they discussed about the Taylor family, and they mentioned how Mio hasn't really sung. They do mention there was a video there where she sang with her family, but that was mostly it. Later at school, Rina's walking around and finds Mia collapsed. She brings her to a restaurant and gives her a burger. Rina and Mia discuss Mia's daily life, which is mostly writing songs, but occasionally she'll watch videos of the club's life, which she claims she really wasn't paying attention to. Rina says she just wants to hear Mia sing, but she claims that she doesn't have any interest in singing. Another round of the Grill Live went off, and it was so big that the monitors actually had to shut it down because it was too crowded for the club. But most noticeably, it was that people are enjoying their lives more than the associations when you look in the comments and videos online. And Mia takes notice. She goes into the comments saying the association's better and that no one understands the true quality of the association. However, she gets responses saying that the club creates music that's unique to them. Mia ends up getting frustrated and she feels like she's losing her touch. She struggles to write songs and feels herself crumbling under the pressure. Mia stops showing up, and Karin, I, and Shioriko end up getting worried, but Lanzhu just say this is just normal for her. I goes to the club and requests her help to find Mia. Since Rina is the most like Mia, she is able to find her, which will be in the auditorium, because that's often secluded. Rina asks what's wrong, and Mia ends up pouring out her frustrations. She can't write songs anymore, which is something she used to be able to do so easily before. She essentially lost her identity. After seeing Shizuku against what Mia believed in so much has shaken her. Why would someone choose an amateur song over her professional works? Why does Shizuku's song make people feel more passion? She's a Taylor, and she needs to uphold that name. Mia can't love her music, and she can't sing her songs. She used to enjoy singing with her family, but one day she had a recital and the expectations for her made her get weak in the knees, and stage fright took over. She left without singing. She felt the burden of her failure, and she chooses to write music instead to redeem her honor. Songwriting is what she deems to be her only worth, and since she can't do that anymore, she feels useless. However, Rina notices something similar about them. They both love video games and hamburgers, and Rina wants to be friends with her. She sees that her songs still have Mia's feelings baked in them. Mia ends up crying and becomes friends with Rina. Rina then brings Mia along to the club's meetings. The club decides that the next live that they are going to do will be a virtual live. Mia notices how different the meetings are. It's lively, happy, and more loose than the association. Rina then pushes for Mia to sing in the live show, but Mia feels unsure about that. The girls then host a live stream in a bunch of different locations, all at the same time in order to combat the monitors from shutting them down entirely. The girls perform, or perhaps they get cut off a little early, but then the next girl line just starts their segment from the live stream. When Kata finishes, she introduces the next singer, Mia Taylor. Mia Taylor then performs her solo song, I'm Still. I'm Still is mostly in English, which is a large part of Mia's identity and makes it a very unique for a Love Live song. The song sings about her struggle to show who she truly is. She dreams of being someone who can express herself clearly, but she can't, and she's still dreaming of the day that she can. Following the performance, everyone loves her song, and she looks forward to the next song she'll write, but Mia said the song she writes next is going to be for herself. Chapter 23, Ai's Joint Event, Part 1. We start off with Misato and Ai discussing Mia's live performance and the club. Misato asks why Ai left the club if she loves him so much, and Ai says she can challenge herself if she pits herself against them. She feels that she can't compete with them, so she needed the association to power herself up. Meanwhile, at the association, Lanzhu decides to disband the monitors as they're not helping them stop the club. Lanzhu sees the girls pull off great performances, but she's still baffled by why the girls still won't join her despite offering the best resources. She demands the other girls offer some ideas that will show everyone else how amazing she is. Shioriko then goes to the club and announces that the monitors have been disbanded. The girls are free to perform lives whenever they want. The monitors themselves, Uzuki and Satsuki, apologize for the trouble they have caused. They were actually fans all along, so they are relieved that they don't have to stop them anymore. Shioriko picked them up for that reason, as she knows as these two girls all support the club, and she wishes to support the club herself, but she also wishes to support her childhood friend Lanzhu. Meanwhile, Ai has been discussing with others how amazing Lanzhu and Setsuna are. She's busy helping others and she's trying to reach their level, but she just can't seem to get there. But she did come with an idea. She called the club and the association over together as she wants them to have a joint competition. Both sides love the idea. Setsuna, Kasumi, Shizuku, and Rina choose to participate from the club against the members of the association. Ayumu, Emma, and Kanata will be the MCs for the event. The girls from the club go into the association's club room to help Ai get the event ready. Lanzhu greets the girls very warmly, but she doesn't care for you whatsoever. Mia comes out since she heard Rina was coming, and they are essentially best friends right now. They talk about playing more games with each other, and Mia then grabs Rina to listen to her song, and Rina loves it. Mia finds herself unready to participate in the competition, but she still wishes to compete as a songwriter against Yu. Shizuku decides that she wants to show off how much she has grown to Lanzhu. After a bit of work, Kasumi notices that Karin struggles to be able to talk to Emma. Karin is afraid that Emma is mad at her, but Kasumi says that, much like what happened to Shizuku, Karin has improved in singing and dancing, but she has lost her true charm, and that is what makes Emma sad. Ai and Karin later have a discussion on how amazing Setsuna and Lanzhu are, but they both describe Setsuna being their goal, rather than Lanzhu being their goal to catch up to, as Setsuna has the passion of a true idol. The next day, the girls then grab numbers and pair up against each other, so Rina is first and she picks to go against Ai. Shizuku then picks to go against Lanzhu, Kasumi picks Karin, and the final matchup will be Setsuna against Shioriko. The matches will start in 1 week. Chapter 24, Ai's Joint Event, Part 2. Today is the day where the girls will face off against each other. The girls are excited and look forward to beating each other. For the first match, Rina and Ai will face off. Rina makes the decision that she will not wear Rina-chan board as she wishes to show her true self. Ayumu, Emma, and Kanata start to show off and the match starts. Ai wins the match, but both girls were impressed by each other. In the second match, Shizuku faces Lanzhu. Shizuku wishes to show why she picked the club over the association. She can express herself the way she wants to while she is in the club. Lanzhu claims that Shizuku can do that in the association too, but it's more if she can express herself the way she chooses, as long as it fits the association's style and narrative. Shizuku puts on her best performance yet, but she still loses to Lanzhu. Lanzhu was also joyful after Shizuku's performance though. The third match is Kasumi versus Karin. Kasumi berates Karin and yells a lot to try to prove that she is better. Yu then leaves with Uzuki and Satsuki as there is an administrative problem, with the event. Katsumi finds you later, and she says she destroyed Karin in that match. Then the lunch break commences. The girls discuss their performances, and Karin doesn't show up. I claims Karin didn't show up as she's likely working on proving herself as she hates to lose. Katsumi got a lot more votes than Karin, which may have gotten Karin frustrated. Meanwhile, Shioriko discusses with Uzuki and Satsuki about how she can improve herself after losing to Setsuna, which they actually didn't show that match. Their suggestion is stair climbing with iron sandals. Lanzhu and Mia reminiscence about their past and how the school festival inspired them to become school idols. Mia says she will still want to participate in one soon, but for right now, she just wishes to beat Yu as a composer. Lanzhu finds the competition rather insulting as Yu is amateurish and unskilled, at least according to her. Any charm during the performances comes from the performer and not from Yu. In the next round, Setsuna and I will face off in the semifinals. I've been looking forward to it as she created this event in hopes of facing her. They are both very excited to face each other. I puts on a wonderful performance and that causes Setsuna to choose an acapella for her performance instead. Setsuna ends up winning. I was amazed by Setsuna, but she can't just help feeling utterly defeated. She gave her best, but it wasn't good enough. I breaks down and cries. Setsuna really enjoyed Ai's performance, and she feels that the match was actually a tie, even though she clearly won. So Setsuna asks for a rematch later, which I looks forward to. Next up is Katsumi vs Lanzhu. Katsumi gets destroyed. Katsumi then places all her hopes into Setsuna in the final round. Setsuna ends up losing, and the girls in the club end up distraught. They all end up blaming themselves for the defeat. However, Ayuma lets the girls know that while they didn't win, they still gotta prove that the club is still incredible. This event showed that the audience and association how great both groups are, which makes Lanzhu open to the idea of having more events like this in the future. At the end, we find Karin sitting on her bed. She feels utterly crippled by her defeat. She feels devastated how Katsumi absolutely owned her in her match. She gave everything to improve, but she still couldn't compete with Katsumi. Karin wonders what she needs to do to improve. Chapter 25, Aiming Higher My Own Way. Distraught, Karin relives her defeat against Katsumi. Despite all of her hard work and despite giving it her all, she lost to Katsumi. Karin can't seem to figure out why she lost. Karin has been clearly impacted by her loss, and I notices. She works really hard, but rather than it being her working hard, it's more of her being tormented by her loss and that causing her to affect how she works. I asked Emma to talk to Karin about it. Setsuna and Shioriko are working in the student council, and Setsuna said she is glad she is no longer the student council president. She believes Shioriko will do a better job than her. Uzuki and Satsuki then arrive and ask Yu for advice to help improve Shioriko. They want her to make better than Setsuna Yuki. They go about on how flawless she is and how she is a natural born monster. They also use the term goddess, and that makes a certain someone in the room bashful. Keep in mind, she is not known as Setsuna Yuki, she is known as Nana, and that's how these girls view her, so they don't know Setsuna is technically in the room. After watching the dance some more, Karin sees just how much better Lanzhu is. Emma then comes into her room. Emma sees that Karin wants to be more like Lanzhu, who is, as many girls put it, perfect. However, like many of the other girls in the club, Emma says Karin's performance has lost something. Karin's skill has definitely improved. She does not deny that. But Emma still prefers Karin's old performances. Karin takes insult to that. She feels that she's different and the association is the right way. She snaps and kicks Emma out of her room. Later, Yu tries to talk to Emma, but with the assistance of Kanata's pudding, that she is able to do it. Yu talks things over and gets Karin to step out and get some fresh air. Kanata then drags Karin to Haruka's concert. Kanata is overjoyed to be able to grab front row seats. She's vivid, and Karin is taken back by how different she acts when Kanata is watching Haruka. That live concert made Karin realize that she was wrong about how she went things. The performances are a combination of both the idols and the fans. Kanta then brings Karin to a playground to see Emma perform in front of a bunch of kids. She will be singing Koi no Bori, which means carp streamer. Kanta ends up tearing up seeing Emma singing so softly and passionately in front of a bunch of kids. Emma then embraces Karin and apologizes for being so critical of Karin. The third years all come together and cry. They patch up and overcome their troubles. Karin then comes to you during lunch and proclaims that she wants to be Yu's #1 idol. That brings up an argument with everyone who will be Yu's #1 idol from all of the original Nijigasaki girls. It's like everything is mostly back to normal. Karin then requests you to help her organize another live concert for her. This time around, she focuses more on the fans, and she gets an outpour of support. Following the live, the girls tell each other that they should join the other side, but that dialogue goes nowhere. Kanta then talks about how there's going to be a new student teacher arriving. At the association, Kaoruko, Shioriko's older sister, barges in and announces she will be the student teacher, to the surprise of Shioriko. Chapter 26, Kaoruko arrives. Kaoruko comes back from a short trip. Last time she was here was back at the School Idol Festival when she was the original organizer. Kaoruko then gathers all the idols from both the club and association for a meeting. She is organizing another school event called the School Idol Exhibition. She'll need a representative for the school who will have promo vids showcased around Japan. Her plan is to have auditions deciding who will represent the school. The one with the most amount of support will be chosen as the representative. Kaoruko then suggests all of the girls go on a training camp. Following that, Mia and Shioriko decided to not go for the auditions. Mia says she needs to build up her strength still, and Shioriko is not interested because her sister is leading it. In a separate discussion, I and Karin are discussing the auditions, and I suggest that they team up. So, Diver Diva essentially. Then the girls go to Mia and ask for her to write them a song. Mia accepts, and this will be her way of competing in the audition. All the girls then arrive at the camp at a deserted island, very much like the training camp that occurred in chapter 17 and 18 in the intermission of the story in this game. During the first day, we see Karin and I practice together and impress the other girls. Setsuya, Mia, and Lanzhu also try their hand at cooking, but they end up having Kanta take care of it since the girls like having foods that are a bit more, edible. After eating, the other girls decide to form units like I and Karin. Emma and the girls form quartz. The girls in quartz decide to focus on harmonizing, which is what they do in their songs anyways. Then next, they have to figure out a name, so Kasumi then suggests that they should have a name that has something with Kasumi in it. The other girls shoot it down as they don't want it to revolve around Kasumi. They couldn't think of an actual real name right away, so technically they do not go by quartz. Then Ayuma says she wants to form a unit with Shizuku and Setsuya, who both were planning to originally go solo, but Ayumu convinces them, and then they speculate what can they do as a unit, as they can't seem to decide what that is. And to be fair, a lot of myself can't seem to figure out that either as yet anyways. Then Ayumu suggests that they go with an amusement park theme since their group is like a circus, I guess? Jokes aside, it's because amusement parks are filled with a lot of things, so they could combine everything they wanted into that theme. This is obviously alluding to their first single, Dreamland Dreamworld, which takes place in Asuna Land. We're going to discuss with Mia about how to write a song for these new units. Mia suggests focusing on why the group exists, what is their goal, and what do they excel in. The groups each then get their dances ready and practices them. Then the night ends with them eating Kanta's cooking, and then Lanzhu takes a bite of Setsuna's, and she doesn't feel too great after eating that. Chapter 27, Out of Patience. The start of this chapter goes back to when Kaoruko surprised Shioriko when she came back. They reminisce about how they and Lanzhu were a part of the Girl Scouts back in the day. One of the first days of teaching, Kaoruko is supposed to be teaching history, but she decides to talk about her travels around the world instead. After that class, she comes to the cafeteria instead of the teacher's lounge to talk to Yu. She asks why Shioriko had a change in heart and became a school idol. Meanwhile, Uzuki and Satsuki put together a plan to help improve Shioriko, but they argue with each other if she should sing heavy metal or soul music for her next song. During the practice, Kaoruko comes and observes Shioriko. Kaoruko and Lanzhu end up critiquing her relentlessly, and Shioriko ends up leaving the practice after being berated. She heads to the club and wishes to practice with them instead. Her older sister has been making her feel very uncomfortable, so Yu decides to grab all the idols who have sisters from Muse and Aqua to have a discussion. Shioriko then goes on describing how her older sister can bug her a lot. She doesn't do her homework, she sleeps all day, and she bugs her to play games late at night. The other girls go on talking about how sisters can be annoying, but their sisters also still care for them. Chika, for example, has older sisters that can make fun of her, but they also take care of her when she was sick. Haruka then decides that she will invite Shioriko to stay over the night at her place. During the conversations, the girls were able to make some links between Shioriko and Kaoruko. Shioriko was likely mad at the squad club because she was jealous that Kaoruko was giving a lot of attention to that. The club wasn't taking her away. Shioriko still finds it annoying that Kaoruko essentially forces a lot of activities on her, and Kaoruko refuses to listen when she doesn't want to do it. But Kata sees this as love because Kaoruko wants to do a lot of stuff with her younger sister. Though, she also says she should make her feelings known to her. The next day, Shioriko meets up with the girls at the club and she wishes to do another life, or as she says, she wishes to declare war against her sister. Shioriko wishes to stop being seen as a child by her. She receives support from both the club and the association. The girls, especially Lanzhu, work hard to set up the stage. Shioriko and Mia request that Yu writes a song which will spell out Shioriko's feelings to her older sister. Lanzhu then supplies Yu with a notebook that is filled with notes on the girls in the association, but it also has a page filled with things she wishes to do with all the Nijigasaki idols one day, such as joint practices, joint live shows, shopping, going to the zoo, playing games, and so on. Afterwards, Shioriko tells Lanzhu that she doesn't want to have wires attached to her so that she'll be flying a live show because Lanzhu thought that would be cool. Imagine she was flying, now that would be interesting, but Shioriko says that is too much. Lanzhu is insistent that Shioriko will be good enough for it, but Shioriko tells Lanzhu that Lanzhu might be good enough to be able to do it because she is special, but she herself cannot do it. Shioriko tells her that she wants to do it her own way and that she should leave her alone. Stunned, Lanzhu ends up quickly leaving her. Shioriko then goes on stage and spills out her feelings for Kaoruko, who is there in the crowd. Shioriko then performs Aoi Kanaria. Aoi Kanaria translates to Jade Green Canary, which represents Shioriko, whose color is jade green. It explains her struggle of being unable to say what she wants to say. She's like a bird in a cage who cannot fly around freely. She wants to fly into the sky, but she's trapped by that cage. She wishes to be able to express herself freely. Kaoruko ends up loving her performance and it hits her hard. She was unaware of Shioriko's feelings and she realizes that Shioriko is no longer her baby sister. Chapter 28, Lanzhu's Feelings. Lanzhu talks to herself about her situation right now and how it's similar to one she had before. Everyone starts off loving Lanzhu as she's perfect. Yet, as time passes, those feelings change and people feel distant from her. She's too perfect. I'm not good enough to be with you. Just leave me alone. But back then, she had Shioriko. She remembers the first time she met the girls at the school festival where I and Karin invited her to join the performance, and that inspired her. She thought she could make her dreams come true by being an idol. But through her methods, she ends up feeling all alone. Lanzhu then decides to suddenly disband the association. Mia, I, and Karin catch wind of this, but they can't find Lanzhu, so they run to the club for help. Lanzhu goes to her mother, the chairwoman, and tells her that she wants to go back to Hong Kong. She feels all the girls are amazing and Lanzhu had no impact on that. She's not needed. She plans to do one more live and return home. Shioriko and the girls then go and try to find Lanzhu. The girls wish to learn more about Lanzhu's past and Shioriko fills them in. Lanzhu was a very talented girl, the best in everything, but she always taught others to be better too, though she wants it to be done her way. She's forceful and unsympathetic. Her way is the right way. However, this distances herself from everyone else and ends up making her feel alone. Looking back, Lanzhu could have felt genuine excitement for the association, the idols, and being friends with the other girls. She brought in a lot of equipment and set up a nice club room. She loves all the girls and talking about them got her excited. She even got Ai and Karin to come, but only as temporary members. They weren't going to leave the club as they felt some things weren't right. Now we don't totally know what happened later, but that's just what they tell us. Jumping back to the present, the girls find Lanzhu doing her final performance and notice that Lanzhu performed with more of that passion and emotion that the association style often lacks. Lanzhu then says to herself that she wished she could be friends with the other idols. The club feels her desires and passions through her singing, though they can also feel that she wants to stay here, be an idol, and compete against them. Following the live, the girls learn that Lanzhu goes back to Hong Kong. They all get worried and realize that they have to convince her to stay. Mia offers to write a song for live for Lanzhu. The song would have Lanzhu, Shioriko, and Mia be the performers. They quickly write a song with the help of a handful of girls, and they weave in their emotions into the song. They write with their knowledge of her. They finish the song and send it to Lanzhu to her phone, but she hasn't responded to it as of yet. They learn Lanzhu is leaving soon by plane, so then they try to chase Lanzhu down by going on a train. Then the takeoff for the plane gets delayed due to turbulence, so she ends up having to wait. So then she decides to pull out her phone and listen to the song that Mia sent her. She quickly gets flooded with emotions. She can imagine the song being performed by Mia, Shioriko, and her. She wants to perform this song and take the challenge that she sees in the song, and she wants to do it. The girls then arrive at the airport and Lanzhu is shocked to find them there after she left the plane. The girls tell her that they still want her to be an idol with them. They want to be friends with her. Lanzhu then begins crying. After she stops crying, Lanzhu tells them that she wants to sing that song, and she accepts Mia's challenge. The chapter ends with a performance of Monster Girls. This song sings about how they're all super charming and how they will take over your hearts. The song's kind of like a challenge. They each have their own parts and they're each trying to show off. Chapter 29, My School Idol Activities. Following the live, the girls get together and talk about how great that performance was. The girls apologize for the trouble that they caused, and Lanzhu feels she could become friends with everyone now. Though Lanzhu feels that she needs to learn more about the one she was against the most, Yu Takasaki, or Yu, the protagonist, the character you play in the game. Lanzhu then finds Ayumu in the cafeteria, and Ayumu explains more about how Yu is important. Yu made the idols of Nijigasaki into who they are today. Lanzhu then decides to talk to Yu. Lanzhu apologizes to Yu for being cruel and unjust. She was jealous of Yu and she realized her methods were not acceptable. Better late than never. Yu then shrugs it off and then she rather discuss about the performance and idols instead. So then they go on about it and Lanzhu says that there will be another live. She also asks why Yu doesn't perform if she loves idols so much. But Yu says that really never crossed her mind. At the auditorium, Shizuku says Kaden and I may perform as Diver Diva. Lanzhu is also to perform with Shioriko and Mia. Before the encore, Lanzhu tells the other performers what she learned from Yu and how she was transformed as an idol. Lanzhu will perform with her emotions and she sings for the audience now. They are her reason for being an idol. Following the performance, Lanzhu announces that the School Idol Association will be disbanded officially. Lanzhu then goes to the girls at the club requesting to join the club. Shioriko and Mia also then request to join after her. Lanzhu then formally apologizes to them. I and Kaden then asks to rejoin after the other girls. Kaoruko then barges in and reminds them of the school idol exhibition auditions that are coming up. Lanzhu then asks Shioriko and Miya to join together as a subunit or a group officially. Later in the day, Yu then reflects on what Lanzhu asked her and why she doesn't perform as an idol. The next day, the girls all prepare for the auditions, but Yu keeps reflecting on if she should perform as an idol. If she doesn't perform, does she care about idols as much as the other girls? Does she have to be an idol to care about idols? Ayumu then decides that Yu should stay the night over at her place. Ayumu details how they both put together her first song, Yume no Ippo, which translates to One Step to My Dreams. Ayumu explains that she's an idol because of Yu, and that his song is not only her first step of being an idol, but rather this is both of their first steps in the world of idols. The next day, the rest of the girls encourage Yu by saying that they need her. Yu then decides to go on stage and proclaim that she loves all of the idols in the club, and somehow that solves her conflict of if she doesn't like idols, I guess. The auditions go off and a bunch of friends of the idols show up and cheer them on, such as Misato, Haruka, Mai, Uzuki, and Satsuki. All of this cheering reaffirms that you can be with these girls despite not being an idol. Chapter 30. All of Us Together. Ayumu and Yu wake up and talk together about the upcoming auditions for the school idol exhibition. They talk about their adventure together, where they got inspired from the first festival up to the recent conflict they had with Lanzhu. Back in the classroom, Lanzhu wishes for Kasumi to treat her with more respect and love. She wants to be idolized like the idol she is. Lanzhu goes on about how cute Kasumi is, and Kasumi calls her Lanzhu senpai, which makes Lanzhu ecstatic. Kasumi uses this to take advantage of Lanzhu. Kasumi then gives Miya a nickname, Miyako, which Miya likes as that is similar to Rina's Rinako. All of this talk gets Lanzhu excited as she wishes for everyone to call out her name. Later, Ayumu and Kasumi talk on a train. They talk about how much buzz that their units are getting, which are now officially being referred to by their proper names, Quartz, Azuna, and Diver Diva. All the girls get giddy with the support they receive. With the results coming soon, Yu wonders how she should write her next song, so she decides to consult many fans of idols. She first comes to Misato and asks how she feels about Ai and idols in general. Misato details her past with Ai. She and I used to play a lot when they were little, but Misato was frail, so she didn't go out too much, but that didn't bother Ai at all. I was fine sacrificing and playing indoors with Misato. I prioritized Misato over herself, and Misato felt that I was suppressing herself and her emotions. Though, now through being a school idol, Ai has been more expressive and full of emotions, and she's free to express herself a lot more. While walking outside, Yu finds Setsuna, who is going to watch a superhero Sentai movie with her mother. This means that Setsuna has been more open to who she is with her family. She used to keep that pretty hidden before. She's a school idol who loves anime and manga, and her family now knows of that. Her parents have given her support to Setsuna. Her parents even given her some support after seeing one of her lives. Through Yu, Setsuna was able to be more free and be able to show her true self. You are her hero, savior, and messiah. Next up, Yu heads over to Mai. Mai wishes to take a commemorative photo of all the girls in the club as practice as a photographer. As the girls arrive, they all argue about who the center should be for the photo, but Mai tells them that she already has all the positions set. While Mai is getting set up, Yu asks Mai about her love for idols. She explains her love and how much they empower her. She really enjoys them, and of course she loves Emma the most, who sang her song Ayo no Uta. The rest of the girls then learn through Ayumu that Yu has been researching for her song, and the other girls offer her their help to make that song. They decide that they will take interviews to help write the song. The next day, Yu shows her finalized song to the group, and they all love it. Ai then says that they have to perform this song at the exhibition. Now this goes against Kaoruko's idea, as them performing together is not how she intended to be. The rules set up for this exhibition does not allow that. but Yu is insistent on having them all perform together as the song indicates that it's all about idols. So when Kaoruko comes to the auditorium to learn of the winner of the audition, she is surprised to see that all the girls decide to represent the school together. Wow, who could have seen that coming? The girls all feel confident in their decision and they choose that they will have to perform together despite that being against the rules. The song they sing is LLL Love the Life We Live, which is the first song to feature all 12 of these girls in a song. The song is an embodiment of idols and the exciting ventures that they have and will do. Their feelings connect to each other and they all shine brilliantly together. Following the performance, Kaoruko admits she was wrong, and the girls blew her away. She accepts all of the girls being the representatives of the school. Back at the clubroom, all of the girls feel relieved and relaxed. The girls were able to change the rules of the school idol exhibition and make it so that they can all be the representatives of the schools together as one. The girls look forward to their first promo video that they will make together, and they plan on training up for it. So that is the conclusion of the Lanzhu Fiasco that I will put it. It may not be the end of season 2 as there is likely to be more about the school exhibition and the promo video that they will have to make, but the conflict of the club versus association looks like it's over. Mia and Lanzhu are now members of the club and they're going to be playable very soon, if not already now, depending on when you're watching this. So what did you think about this whole situation? Do you like the story, the characters, the approach, and the results? I know there have been many people critical of the story, and I'm definitely not excluded from that. But there was definitely some good stuff there that came out of it, and now we have 2 members that represent the US and China, which are of the 2 largest countries for Love Live fans beyond Japan. They brought excellent songs to the groups, and now the troubles are behind them. Thank you all for watching this. I really appreciate all your support, and if you guys really enjoyed this, I may make a shorter 5-minute summary version of this if there is enough interest. Thank you all for watching, and a shout out to my YouTube members like Kumax for their continued support. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to catch you guys in another video soon.